Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to the fabulous FRI-YAY broadcast of Miss Hope's Reading Hour. So glad to be here with you this evening, out in nature and everything. First things first, my friends, I would like to apologize for not being on Thursday because it was just a lot of stuff happening. Sometimes, just to let you know, sometimes when you gotta be there for friends and family and things, you just gotta be there for them. And it went over time, and I was out, and I was like, you know what? I'm out here, and I'm going to do the Miss Hope's Reading Hour out where I was. And my phone was almost dead, and then I was like, oh well, I'll be able to find a hotspot somewhere. And my computer was almost dead too, and I was like, dang it, I found some books and everything, and I could not do Miss Hope's Reading Hour, and I felt so bad. And then I got home and was so tired that I forgot to send you guys a message and say I'm sorry. So here is Miss Hope saying I'm sorry that I didn't get to come on and do Miss Hope's Reading Hour on a thankful Thursday, but I'm thankful that I was able to really be there for some people that I really care about. And I would want you all to do the same thing, you know, when someone needs your help, to make sure that you can be there for them, you know? So I'm thankful that I was able to do that. I'm thankful that I heard from one of my friends that I, was helping out with something else. So I'm really, really happy I heard from them. And I'm more thankful to be here with all of you on this evening. Now, I am outside in the yard again. And if you notice, it's not quite so sunny outside. From wherever you are, I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and right now it is 7:44 p.m. And if you guys have noticed, my young ones, my older young ones, parent friends, teacher friends, parent-teacher friends, and all friends of Miss Hope's Reading Hour, if you notice, the sun is starting to go down sooner. Okay, I noticed that the last time I was out here. I was like, oh, I'm used to it being like really, really sunny at 7:44. But now the sun is starting to go down even sooner. So because of that, I was like, there's two books I want to read since the sun is starting to go down sooner, okay? And they're kind of about the dark, okay? So that's what we're going to read today. And of course, you know, we got to keep it up with these unteachables, okay? Because I'll get to it when it's time. Okay? So, for all of you who are watching Miss Hope's Reading Hour today, we're still whittling down on the last books that we ordered. And if you would like to donate to the Miss Hope's Reading Hour library for us to have more books to read, if you look down here in the ticker, all the information that you need is right in there so that you can donate either via Cash App or by sending digital gift cards to our Miss Hope's Reading Hour email. And if you want to send me books, send me a notice that you want to do that, and I will contact you about how you can do that, okay? Now, my friends, let's get to the books that we are reading this evening, okay? Our first book. Now, we read one book from this series. I think I'm going to have to get all of the books from this series because I really liked the first one we read. It was funny. No, we read two. We read two of them. Okay, so our first book is called Don't Let Pigeon Stay Up Late. Do not let him do it, okay? Do not let Pigeon stay up late. This book, the words and the pictures are by Mo Willems. And if you've been watching Miss Hope's Reading Hour for a while, you know that Mo Willems also wrote the Elephant and Piggy books that we liked so much. Okay? Our next book, and I've read through this one. I've read through both of them, I think. I didn't read all of our pigeon book, but I did read this one and I loved it. It's called Blackout. Okay? And this book is by John Rocco. Oh, wait a minute. I see something. Look at that. One of those medals, literary medals, that you can get when you write an awesome book, that you do not have to wait until you are a grown person to get one of these. You write an awesome book, you illustrate an awesome book, and guess what? It could be you getting one of these medals, okay? So this book is called Blackout by John Rocco. And of course, my friends, you know, we gotta find out some more about these Unteachables. There's some new things happening and we want to find out what's going on with those new things. How are they happening? All of that, okay? The Unteachables by Mr. Gordon Corman. All right. Now, let's get to our first book. Don't Let Pigeon Stay Up Late. Who knows what'll happen with Pigeon, okay? First he wanted to drive a bus. Then he wouldn't share his hot dog. Let's find out what's going on with our pigeon friend here, okay? Oh, good. It's you. Listen, it's getting late and I need to brush my teeth. Can you do me a favor? Don't let Pigeon stay up late. Can't do it. Pictures and Words by Mr. Mo Willems. And this is a Hyperion Books for Children book. Thanks. All right, let's see if we'll be able to keep Pigeon from staying up late. First of all, I'm not even tired. In fact, I'm in the mood for a hot dog party. What do you say? Oh boy, here goes that hot dog again. No? Guess he figures who wouldn't want to take part in a hot dog party. I hear there's a good show about birds on TV tonight. Should be very educational. Well, at least he wants to be educated and wants you to be educated too. Okay. How about 5 more minutes? Come on, what's 5 minutes in the grand scheme of things? What's 5 minutes? 5 minutes is nothing. Uh-oh. What? What? I'm not tired. One little yawn and he thinks somebody's tired. You know, we never get to talk anymore. Tell me about your day. Well, that's a very nice thing to ask. I don't know if it's the best time to ask it. Oh, I've got a great idea. We could count the stars. Of course, it's nighttime. Can I have a glass of water? Studies show that pigeons hardly need any sleep at all. It's the middle of the day in China. I'll go to bed early tomorrow night instead. Hey, ho. This pigeon just won't go. Please, my bunny wants to stay up too. You can't say no to a bunny, can you? Oh, whew. This pigeon's laying it on thick. It's a huge yawn. Okay, that was not a yawn. I was stretching. People, they make that mistake. I'm 110% awake. You haven't heard the last of me. Ooh, we haven't? Great work. Thanks. Hi. Hey, he had his hot dog party. It was just in his dreams. Good night, Mr. Pigeon. The end. Pigeon is always trying to do something. It's like, no, I don't need to go to sleep. I'm okay. Mr. Pigeon, it's time to go to bed. You can't stay up late. And part of the reason you can't stay up late is because you can't hang. You try to do it, but every time you go to sleep. That was a good one. I like all the pigeon books. I have to get more of them. All right, now for our next book. Blackout by John Rocco. This has a dust jacket. Oh, and it doesn't look the same, but it looks cool. It has a cool hard cover. The front and the back. Blackout by John Rocco. A Caldecott Honor Medal winner. Aw. He looks pretty sad. I wonder why. Let's find out. Oh wow, this is a Disney Hyperion book. Trash truck stopping. It started out as a normal summer night. The city was loud and hot. Kind of like it might be later this week. Here in Philly, we're going to have a heat wave. all the people inside doing their thing on the phone. And he said, girl, what did he say? Inside, everyone was busy. I guess he wanted to play a game, but everybody was busy. Get out! Typical mean sister. Oh, wait a minute. Let me change the ambiance. I forgot. Much too busy. Everybody is busy. Just much too busy. Get out of here. Oh, guess he decided to go upstairs. Poor little guy. Just want to play a game with everybody. And then I wonder what happens. The lights went out. All of them. Guess it's a blackout. Mom! Yeah, I guess when you're a little kid and all the lights just go out all of a sudden, it's pretty creepy. Good thing Mom found him. Nothing worked at all. No phone, nothing. The city was dark and quiet and still. Guess everybody's trying to figure out what to do. We huddled around flashlights and candles. Meow. The cat might not be having as much fun. Until it was too hot and sticky to sit inside. Can we go? Oh, where is he talking about? Let's see. So we went up and up and up to the rooftop and found, what do you think they found on the roof? Maybe they could have a light. Maybe they could have found something to make the lights come on. They found the lights. Not the type that are inside of a house. They found the starlight. I love looking at stars. That's one of my favorite things to do, is while I'm walking home at night, just to have my head up and looking at the moon and the stars. That's one of my favorite things. We found the lights and people. It was a block party in the sky. We waved to everyone, then heard other sounds below. Wow, it did look like they were having a pretty good time up there. Somebody even brought a record player. There's a grill. Two people sitting and having dinner. They're having a pretty good time in this blackout. So, we went down and down and down. I wonder what it was that they heard in the street. Went down to the street. Come on! He must see something. What do you think he sees? A party was going on there too. Oh wow. There's people playing music. The firemen are opening up the water hydrant so that the kids can get wet in the hot, sticky night. Wow, there's a block party in the sky and a block party in the street. Oh, and free ice cream. Nice. And no one was busy at all. At least not the people who were most important to him. When the lights came back on, they were still talking. They didn't really realize the lights were back on yet. Everything went back to normal. Everybody being busy. So what is he gonna do about it? Let's see. Looks at the light switch and then click. But not everyone likes normal. I gotta go. Good idea, buddy. They decided they didn't want to be quite so busy. The end. I really liked this story when I read it. I was like, when am I going to read this? And I've thought that tonight was perfect because it's getting darker. As you can see, it's gotten a little darker since we've even been outside. Blackout. Sometimes it takes something to happen to help us to slow down. Sometimes we just need a little something as small as a blackout to say, you're a little too busy. You're doing a whole lot of stuff. Maybe you need something to say, you know what, family? Slow down a little bit. Play a game. Have a block party. Have fun with each other. And don't be quite so busy. So, even in your house, it doesn't have to be a real blackout. You can have an imaginary one. And maybe you, my young ones, can be the ones to help your family, your moms, your dads, your grandparents, aunts or uncles, brothers and sisters, to say, I think we need to slow down. Maybe you can shut the lights off and say, how about we camp out inside? How about we have like our own little mini blackout and just have fun together, like we're out under the stars? And stuff like that will help you to slow down and enjoy each other's company and not be quite so busy. Sometimes in a house, there's a lot of things people have to do, kids and adults. And sometimes we just need to slow down and take time with one another and enjoy each other's company and get reacquainted with our family out of all of the busyness of life. Great story. I love this book. And my parent-teacher friends, you want to help everybody to slow down a little bit? Get this book and then have your own imaginary blackout, okay? Such a good book. So glad I got to read it with you all. Now, my friends, we are back to these unteachables, okay? Back to the unteachables. So we are in chapter 20. This is Jake Terranova telling us about himself, okay? And how he is so super sorry for what happened when he was in middle school with the whole cheating scandal where he got the answers to the test and sold it to his classmates. But Mr. Kermit, because he was the adult, took the fall for it, kind of destroyed his life a little bit. And Jake Terranova, he has this huge car dealership and his life is grand. Mr. Kermit is not quite happy with him. So we find out that Jake Terranova and Miss Fountain are like boyfriend or girlfriend. That's how she got him to want to work with the SES 8 kids and her class. But she talked to him about Mr. Kermit, and Jake is like, I'm so sorry. I still feel so bad about what happened and what he went through because of what I did. So his way of making amends is to come in and excite the children of SES 8 into learning and invites them to the car dealership and teaches them all these different things. And Mr. Kermit's car breaks down. And Jake is like, I will fix your car. And he's like, I don't want you fixing my car. I don't want anything from you. I don't want to owe you anything. But he gives Mr. Kermit a ride to go get his car that's far away from where he lives. And he was like, you won't let me fix it for free and you'll take it to these people who are not going to fix your car well. So Mr. Kermit allows him to go, allows him to give him a ride. He goes in with him and says, Mr. Kermit, I want to make sure that they don't cheat you. And it's a good thing because Mr. Kermit has to wait for a part to come from the Bahamas for his car. They're giving him cheap parts and charging him up for those cheap parts. So that's where we are in the story. Jake is trying to be there and extend the olive branch of peace to Mr. Kermit. So we'll see if he grabs the other side, okay? So we are in chapter 20, Jake Terranova of The Unteachables by Mr. Gordon Corman. Car's not ready, the mechanic tells us. There's a part coming from the Bahamas and it's held up in customs. Instead of getting mad, Mr. Kermit acts like he's in a completely different world. Anagrams, he repeats slowly. He grabs my arm. Let's go. You have to stick up for yourself, I say sternly. I turn to the mechanic. Is this what you call service? If I ran my shop this way, I'd be out of business in a week. How's the part coming from the Bahamas? By manatee? It doesn't matter, Mr. Kermit insists. Take me to the bookstore. The bookstore? You don't need books, you need wheels. Back in the Porsche, he explains what all this is about. Parker's mind turns text into anagrams. Yeah, so? So anagrams are something you can get good at, like any other puzzle. I stare at him. Solving anagrams can teach you to read? Mr. Kermit shakes his head. Of course not. Parker needs a reading specialist. If I was half a teacher, I would have gotten him one weeks ago. I was confused. So where do anagrams fit in? The kid's reading has been a disaster for a long time. For so long that he looks at it like it's magic, something he'll never be able to master. But solving anagrams will show him it can be done. So when I get him the help he needs, he'll believe it can work. Can you get him the help he needs? I ask. The district has reading specialists, he explains. Nobody sends them to SES 8 because they consider my students a lost cause. Nobody sends them to SES 8 because they consider my students a lost cause. That ends now. He glares at me. The bookstore. I step on the gas and the Porsche surges forward. It's amazing how Mr. Kermit's whole face changes when he's talking about the kids in his class. He becomes a totally different person. Younger, more alive. He's the teacher I remember from all those years ago. At the bookstore, he's a whirlwind, stacking up an armload of anagram puzzle books tall enough for him to hold in place with his chin. By this time, school is out, so he demands to be taken to Parker's house. Can't you just wait to see him tomorrow morning? I want to strike while the iron is hot. The Elias family lives just outside the Greenwich city limits, on a small farm that was designed to keep sports cars out. The long driveway is really just a pair of ruts worn into the unpaved ground by vehicles much higher and wider than the Porsche. I can actually feel the weeds brushing the lower undercarriage as we jounce along. Eventually, we come to a low wood frame home next to a shed amid fields of tall corn. No sign of life from the house. I cut the engine. Should I honk? Let's give it a while, Mr. Kermit decides. After about 15 minutes, Parker comes roaring up the drive, his famous grandmother in the passenger seat of the pickup. I know a moment of agony as the kid pulls far too close behind the parked convertible. Parker is pretty bewildered to see his teacher rushing across the front lawn, toting a pile of books he can barely see over. The grandmother spies me standing by my car. I know you, she calls. You're jumping Jake Terranova. She beams. I see you on television. You'll jump through hoops to provide fast relief from painful athlete's foot fungus. That's not me, I tell her. I get you a great deal on a new or used vehicle. She looks at me like I'm feeble-minded. Why would I need that? I've got my grandson to drive me around. Mr. Kermit is having an animated conversation with Parker, holding up anagram books and talking a blue streak. They're well into it when a small tractor chugs out of the field and an older, taller version of Parker hops off and joins the group. Parker's dad is surprised that a teacher would make a house call. But as Mr. Kermit explains his plan, the man looks impressed and smiles with appreciation. The contrast isn't lost on me. Mr. Elias's gratitude for a teacher who's willing to move heaven and earth to help a student versus my folks all those years ago. They rescued their son, and I'm thankful. But in the process, they hung the teacher out to dry. Mr. Kermit deserves better. I hope someday I'll get a chance to make it up to him. Chapter 21. Kiana Rabini. No bikini aura. Oh, no bikini aura. That has nothing to do with bathing suits. It's an anagram of my name. Mr. Kermit is working with Parker on anagrams to improve his reading. Parker's getting pretty good. But for me, it's just fun. It's amazing the stuff you can come up with. For example, Zachary Kermit can be scrambled into Crazy Tram Hike, and Aldo Braff into Fold-A-Barf. Even Aldo laughs at that one, and he doesn't strike me as someone who has a great sense of humor, especially about himself. He looks pretty different when he smiles, like his face is going along with red hair instead of fighting against it. Or maybe Aldo decides to be mellow because he doesn't have a lot of choice. His reading partner is Elaine. It's one thing to kick a locker. A locker can't headbutt you down a flight of stairs or any other of Elaine's greatest hits, like chucking a fire extinguisher at your face or giving you a new ear piercing with a fish hook. To everybody's surprise, Elaine turns out to be kind of a serious student, which nobody noticed before, since they were too busy being terrified of her. Mr. Kermit assigns them where the red fern grows, and Elaine is totally into it. So Aldo has to read it too, even though he claims the last book he finished was Hop on Pop. The other reading group is Barnstorm, Mateo, and Raheem. This works because Mateo never shuts up, which keeps Raheem from falling asleep. Actually, Raheem is more awake lately anyway. Mr. Kermit talked to his stepdad, who would read his rock band's nighttime rehearsals to an alternate venue. Guess where? An empty storage garage at Terra Nova Motors. Sometimes I join those guys because Parker goes to a reading specialist 3 days a week. That makes 4 of us, but it's usually just 3 because Raheem isn't around as much these days. Mr. Kermit got him accepted as a part-time art student at the community college on the other side of the river. Since he draws all the time anyway, it makes sense to send him somewhere that's a good thing. It's complicated, but it works. On any given day, Barnstorm might have 3 partners, or 2, or just 1. It doesn't make that much difference because the only thing he really cares about is puffy tails. Like any athlete, Barnstorm's competitive. But since he's sidelined from sports, all that competitive energy gets channeled into Good Bunnies. His parade of puffy tails stretched past the basket of carrots, off the poster, and 2/3 of the way across the wall. He's miles ahead of me in second place. Mostly, that's because he won't cash them in. He's too greedy. Whenever my line of puffy tails reaches the carrot, I redeem them for a reward. Our class has already had 2 pizza parties, thanks to me. Plus, I lent Aldo a bunch so he could pay off the penalties for some late homework assignments. That was Mr. Kermit's idea. He's using puffy tails to teach us how an economy works. We're free to trade them, spend them, sell them, or lend them. But the lenders have to charge interest. Aldo owes me 10% every week, and he's sinking deeper and deeper into debt. You're a sucker, Barnstorm tells me. He's never going to pay you back. It's puffy tails down a sinkhole. He is so, I defend Aldo, and with interest. Using what? Barnstorm retorts. He's never earned a single puffy tail. Aldo leaps up. I have 2. I just spent mine on fines and stuff. Sit, Elaine rumbles, and Aldo plunks back down onto his chair. Barnstorm won't let it go. Name one thing you did for a puffy tail. Aldo thinks hard. I changed the bulb in the projector. No, that was Raheem, Mateo puts in. In frustration, Aldo runs his hands through his red hair and makes it even messier. Big deal. Who cares about a bunch of rabbit butts? I glare at Barnstorm. I have faith in Aldo. Oh yeah, he shoots back. Why? It's a good question. Why would I put my trust in a bad-tempered redhead with straight D's? Well, part of it is probably because I don't care that much about puffy tails to begin with. But I think the other part might be Vladimir. 8 classes a day make their way through room 115. And that lizard doesn't squeak his head off for any of them. He loves Aldo. Only Aldo. And aren't animals supposed to have instincts about people who are good at heart? I turn on Barnstorm. At least Aldo's not a tight-fisted cheapskate like you. When the year's over and we're in high school, all those puffy tails will be worthless. You can't take it with you. You can't take it with you, Elaine adds in philosophically. Barnstorm is smug. At least I'll be rich. You're a Ferengi, Mateo tells him. That's a race of aliens from Star Trek. They worship money and profit above all things. Settle down, Mr. Kermit says mildly. We're free to spend or not to spend our puffy tails however we choose. That's how market economy works. As we settle back to work, I can't help thinking about what I said to Barnstorm. When the year's over and we're in high school, I'm not going to be in high school with these kids. I'll be gone before the end of the semester. How many times can Mom's movie get struck by lightning? But at the moment the words were coming out of my mouth, I meant them. I actually saw myself finishing out the year in this class I don't belong in this school I don't really go to, and in this town where my only connection is the fact that my parents grew up here. Oh man, I've got to get back to LA, and fast. Well, my friends, we are going to end a little early today because of the nighttime. As you can see, these were actually great books to read, the ones about being in the dark, because it actually is dark right now. First time we've ever went from daylight to darkness on Miss Hope's reading hour. So, my friends, I will say to you, good night. Have a great rest of your fabulous FRI-YAY. Have an awesome weekend. And I will see you right back here, fingers crossed, okay, on our marvelous Monday broadcast of Miss Hope's Reading Hour. With that being said, I will see you next time. Bye for now, my friends.